Good morning, good afternoon, good evening if you're on the other side of the world. What's up, Mexicans? How y'all doing? It's been a minute. I am on the road again, and fitting that I am on the way to Austin, thinking of old Willie Nelson. Yeah. So, man, it's been a crazy month. I feel like I haven't streamed on my own in over a month, maybe even longer than that. It's been kind of nuts. But I've been traveling a lot. It's been great. I have had a lot of really wonderful interactions with friends, family, Mexicans, meeting new people. It's been really, really a whirlwind. And hopefully y'all can hear me okay. I think these headphones usually work pretty well. So hello to my three viewers right now. Thanks for hanging out. Hi, Samantha. Good day to you. Hopefully you can come on Women Crush Wednesday when I start doing that again. I've been just inundated with Sci-Vibe, basically. It's all I do. All I do all day long is Sci-Vibe. That's not true, but okay, cool. Sound is good. What's up, Hex on Air? Mix. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Yeah, I'm just driving. I've been driving forever. Drove through the night, and I'm feeling good. Still very, very alert, very awake. I just went through the freaking border patrol. That's always nerve-wracking, man. But you know what I learned? As long as you're honest, they don't care. Years ago, like 2015, 2016, I was moving from California back to Texas. And so basically I've lived in Austin the last 15 years, but at one point I tried moving back to California. Thought that was a good idea. Not so much. And, Cali and their marijuana laws, they're very open about it. So I just got used to that. And even in Austin, to be honest with you, Austin it's not a huge deal there either. So I'm driving from Cali back to Texas, and I go through this same border patrol stop that I just went through. And man, oh man, did I learn a lesson. I had just like on the ground in a bag. I had stopped at a dispensary, and I think I had like an 8, maybe a little less. But I also had in like the side of my car door, I had a cartridge, like a marijuana cartridge pen thing, right? It's one of those vape pens. And so silly me, and here's what happened is right before I see that the checkpoint is coming up, like within minutes, I had just hit that vape pen. So I'm silly at this point. I get paranoid, of course, because I just smoked. And then I'm like, well, shit, I think I just said I didn't have anything. And so, of course, they smell it. And they search the car, and they find, I think I had maybe like a pipe and like a tiny little bit. It had to have been less than an 8. And thank goodness, man, they did not find the pen, because that's a felony. I don't know if it still is, but back then I would have gone to jail. And basically what happened is they held me. It sucked. Anyone that's gone to prison, I feel for you. I hope you're out, and I hope you're doing much better now, and you're never going to go back there. I've had ex-boyfriend spent a little time in jail once, so I knew about it. And just my 2 hours of being held in a cell. What a terrible experience, man. They had to hold me there because of my little bits of marijuana, and they had to wait for some sheriff to come out. And it just took forever. And I was like, I did the things that I saw in the movies. Like I was doing push. I was just trying to keep myself occupied. I was going stir crazy in there for just that 2 hours. And I, on top of it, right, because of course I had just smoked, I was just thinking about the irony of the situation, because my father, who raised me, was an LAPD officer. He had retired by that point, but right, just grew up with a cop dad. And then my sister she does CSI, like DNA stuff for LAPD. And then my aunt she's retired as well, but my tia, she was a LAPD, I'm trying to think she wasn't an officer. She worked for their tech department. So I have all this family, and then just my whole dad's side of the family, plenty of cops in there. So I'm just thinking about how ironic it is that here I am, the little black sheep, being held in this cell. And like before they put me in this cell, like I just had this like stupid grin on my face. This is so silly, for what it's for. I just, my heart goes out to those that are in prison because of stupid marijuana charges. But then also because I was just like, why are you smiling? Like, is there something funny about the situation? And I told them, I was like, it's just ironic to me. Like, I have a lot of family that's all in law enforcement. And here I am being the silly little black sheep held up in a cell. So anyways, this time, just now, I went through and I'm driving along and the little dog's like sniffing, right? And as the dog gets to the back of the car, it starts following my car. I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, what is going on? And so the guy's like, oh, just move forward. And then they have me pull over to the side. And I'm just like, oh my God. So they're like, oh, you're getting stopped. The dog senses narcotics and people. And I'm like, okay, I don't have any of those things. But I told them, I was like, hey, I've got a little bit of marijuana in the glove compartment. Like, just honestly, it's just like the tiniest little bit. And so I think because I was forthright about it, she just looked at me. She was like, okay. They didn't take it. They didn't touch it. They didn't even open the glove compartment because I told them it was in there. But they had the dog came into the car and sniffed around. And I was like, oh, what's your dog doing with its paws all up in my stuff? So yeah, I had a little canine entry into my vehicle. Yeah, smoking, I go back and forth with it. I smoke a lot less than I used to. And I know I've spoken on this channel about my journey with that. I enjoy using it more medicinally, and I don't want to abuse that, right? And I can see that I have tendencies to, not necessarily addicting tendencies, but like to change your mental state, right? Like sometimes you just want that like kick, you want something different like going on in your wiring. And that's a way that I prefer that to alcohol. But I do agree. I actually, smoking's not that great. I'd like to switch to edibles because just smoking in general, right? With my voice work now. So y'all, here's some exciting news. Real quick to finish that sentence. With my voice work, it's better not to smoke anything, right? At all. I want to keep these beautiful vocal cords working real well and always keep them hydrated and keep them functioning properly. And that's, regardless if it's a cigarette or cannabis, I don't think you necessarily do that much damage to your throat or your lungs when you're smoking cannabis, but it definitely isn't the best thing for people who are trying to use their voice as their means of income, which is what I'm doing. So I'm super excited about this. So let's see, where do we start? Where do we start here? Back like a year ago, I guess, I've been doing acting. I was doing background acting, commercial acting, and really enjoyed doing that. I did it in Puerto Rico. I lived out there for a year, and I had an agent in Puerto Rico, and I did some background acting there. And then when I came back to Austin, I got myself an agent in Austin, and then I did some background acting there. But the thing is with acting, so first of all, auditions especially because of the last couple years, because of what we've gone through with the pandemic, everything is what's it called? It's all online, right? So you have to do self-reported auditions, which suck. I mean, if you've ever been in the world of acting and you did regular auditions, that was great. I enjoyed going into the studio and being in front of people and a camera and doing an audition. No problem. Having to self-tape is it's a hassle. You have to make sure that you have the right equipment. You have to make sure that you're being heard well. And then you have to have like a set, a scene. And I'm so mobile all the time that it just kept getting more and more difficult. So while that's going on, I'm learning about Hex, I'm learning about Richard Hart, started learning about Sci-Vive, and I go into reading the audiobook. Now, the only other thing I've ever done that in regards to my voice, utilizing my voice for some kind of work, was I used to work for Blizzard Entertainment. And when you call Blizzard Entertainment, I don't think it's me anymore, but if you call them, I did the whole IVR, which is thank you for calling Blizzard Entertainment. Press 1 to speak to a sales specialist, whatever. So that whole thing. So I did that. But Sci-Vive is the first book I've ever narrated. That was just something that I felt like, hey, I've got this. I had a microphone because I was working on singing and doing vocal things that way. But yeah, I didn't like the robotic version, and I just thought to myself, I want to read this. I really want to know who Richard is and what he's about. So I'm going to read Sci-Vive. And since there's no audiobook, I might as well record myself doing it. Y'all know that already, probably, if you're watching me. Hey, Maddie Crypto. Welcome. I'm just road rambling. So feel free to come and go as you like. Probably going to talk a lot about Sci-Vive and the work that I'm doing on that right now. So basically, I had no experience in recording an audiobook, but luckily my voice is acceptable, more than acceptable, I suppose. I've gotten so many compliments, and it uplifts my heart every time I see someone say that they enjoy listening to me read the book, or they wouldn't have been able to listen to the book because they're dyslexic, or they wouldn't have been able to read because they're dyslexic. So having the audio means a lot to them. It means a lot to me. So you are welcome. And it's been really cool to be on this journey, because that was how I began providing content to this community. And now what is happening in my life is that over the last 6 weeks, this coming Wednesday will be the 6th week. Hey, Finbear, good to see you. So this will be the 6th week. It's the final class on Wednesday. I decided to take an audiobook narration class. And I'm so glad that I did. It's similar. Let me back up real quick. So once I finished doing Sci-Vive, and then somewhere in between there and about 6 weeks ago, I realized that if I get so much good feedback on my voice and people really like this, and I've never done anything like this before, then imagine with a little bit of training and some resources what I could really do in terms of audiobook narration. So I ended up emailing my agent in Austin, and this was also in part due to the fact that I'm very much nomadic right now and unable to really stay in one place to do auditions and to be cast in a role. I don't want to tie myself to any TV series or a movie, anything that's going to shoot for weeks. And then even commercial work, if you shoot the audition, right now I'm so everywhere that I can't commit to going to the actual taping of whatever it is that I'd be doing. So I emailed my agent and I said, hey, I have really enjoyed what I've been doing, but I think I'd like to leave the agency and I'm going to pivot to audiobooks. Because audiobooks, y'all, you can do it anywhere. You can just be anywhere you want and you can record audio. I mean, and there's caveats to that, and it depends on the type of equipment that you have, what you know where you're at. You don't want to be recording in a big empty room because of the echo, things like that. I'll get into that later. But all that to say, I let my agent know that I didn't want to do acting anymore. And I asked if she had any resources for audio narration. And she gave me, and if anyone out there happens to be interested in this, if you have you feel like people have told you they really like your voice, or maybe you have a quirky voice, or you want to do, some kind of fan fiction reading, whatever it is, check out Southwest Voices. I will try to remember after the stream and once I'm not moving in the car to put this in the description of the video. So Southwest Voices is the group that I'm working with in terms of getting some training and resources. And their website alone has a lot of great resources. And really, I decided to take the class because I'm going to re-record Sci-Vive, and I want it to be perfect. I want it to be awesome. I want it to be ready to go on Spotify and ready to go on Audible. So that was my goal at first. Was, in fact, I mean, I kind of misspoke actually. Like I didn't intend to pivot to audiobooks right away. I was just thinking about Sci-Vive and how I really want to make sure that the quality of what I'm going to be putting out after the editing is done is just beautiful and brilliant. Because if y'all have listened, there's definitely, you can hear birds in the background sometimes. The levels of the audio is all over the place. I did not review a thing. I didn't go back and take out all my, all these little mouth clicks is what they call them. My plosives, anytime you have a P sound, it gets really plosive-y. But I've since learned how to edit in Audacity. I know how to take out those things. I know how to ensure that the noise levels are correct. And it's going to be a lot of work because I'm going to be doing not just the narration, but also the editing myself. Sometimes narrators will send out their edits to be done with someone else, but I don't have a budget for that. So I'm going to just go ahead and do it. And it'll be good practice for me. So that has been something that I've been doing for the last 6 weeks, and I love it. I'm super stoked to have this in my wheelhouse now, and to know not just that I have this knowledge, but y'all, the feedback I've received in the class has been great. My instructor, who is not just an audiobook narrator, he's an actor, he does theater, really cool dude, Steve Corona, through Southwest Voices. So he has really just, most of the feedback I get is my voice is beautiful and wonderful, and he could listen to it forever, which is the feedback that I get from people listening to Sci-Vive. And that just, it's really cool. It's super cool to hear that. And it makes me really excited to move forward into not just really and I am road tripping and I'm in the desert. So if I get rugged, y'all, it's the signal. I'll probably wait a minute or two. So hold on for me if I get rugged. I'm going to try and come back. But if it's been more than like a couple minutes and you don't see me, then I'm in the wild west of Texas and there's no signal out here. So that may happen. But yes, audiobook narration is going to be my new thing. And I'm really looking forward to that opportunity. I am also planning to, while I'm doing this audiobook work to have an income at this time, I will also be trying to do some white papers, starting with the Hex white paper. I did, and that was actually inspired by Hexy Bastard. So thank you, Hexy Bastard, for having me read the Plebifesto. I think that was a great idea. I really am more inspired than ever to get things that people normally wouldn't read or might have a hard time reading, especially within our ecosystem, within our Hex ecosystem. I'm really looking forward to getting a lot of those things on audio. And that's going to include, so the Hex white paper, I will probably do Hedron and Maxi. If y'all have a coin or a project, so silly noob question, do projects have white paper? Like, will Pulse Chain have a white paper, or does this like PLS have a white paper. I was telling someone else recently, I feel very crypto stupid these days. And I was actually Side Effects who's watching. I've been bad and I've not messed around with testnet. I mean, let me take that back. I've been busy. Shit, been bad. I've been working on SciVive and really haven't had a chance to sit down with a testnet and do transactions. And this was months ago though. Like I did do a few things on testnet. I think I went to delegate to a validator and staked. I can't remember. And that's the problem, right? Pulse Chain is coming, and I need to know how to navigate everything. So part of my plan is when I get back and get some time to hang out in Austin, I'm going to be chilling with my sweet, sweet friend Chris Side Effects, because he has done, ladies and gents, like over 800 different transactions on the testnet, things like that. Yeah, you're a boss, and I love it, and I'm looking forward to sitting down and just going over some of that stuff and learning alongside you. So I appreciate you, friend. Let's see. Hey, Monica Mofit, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. We are road tripping. For those of you who joined a little bit later here, yes, I am road tripping back to Austin. I am so sad that I'm going to be like a ship in the night with X-Ray Vision and Rags to Riches. They're doing this Texas tour right now. They're going to be in Dallas today, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're going to be hanging out in Dallas. And then tomorrow they're going to be in Waco. And Wednesday they will be in Austin. However, I am leaving. I'm driving Austin to leave Austin just for a week. I'm going on a little mini trip. So I'm heading into Austin, be there for a day or two, and then heading out for a week. But I'm coming back, and I'm going to be there for, if you all are in Texas, on the 15th of October, EcoBuild Davin is hosting a meetup I think it's a Halloween party. Is it a Halloween party? Oh, and Chris Side Effects will be the DJ, one of the DJs, I think, that evening. Very excited about that. I have not seen him DJ in a minute, so I am happy. Happy. Ooh, Hex Layman's Guide is a good read. Ooh, thank you, Mix. Will you do me a favor? If you're on, I probably won't remember to come back and look at my comments. If you're on Twitter, will you tweet, like DM me the projects or papers that I can or should read? Especially, again, I don't know that I'm going to go much farther than sorry, I just noticed that my door, it says my door is open. So I'm wondering if the guys that had the dog up in here left one of my doors kind of open, but everything seems fine. We're good. We're just going to keep rolling with it. Where a broccoli head where? What does that mean? What does that even mean? Is that a typo? Were you trying to say something else? Where a broccoli head? I don't know what that means. I'm so confused. So things happening in Texas. Your jar is a jar. I think there's some, it says it. I think it's, no, I don't know what could be a jar. Like, I don't even see, like, all, you know how you could maybe tell, like, if the seam is, like, cracked a little? It looks like everything's fine, but we're good. Anyways, so Texas meetup on the 15th of October. I will be there. Looking forward to that 100%. I just got to meet up with some folks in Cali, and that was fantastic. I got to meet a lot of new people, and it was really cool to see a few ladies there that I hadn't met before or didn't know were part of the community or are now a part of the community. So that is always a treat. Ladies got to represent. And let's see what else is going on. What else? La. I felt like I had more to say. Oh, SciVive. Let's talk more about SciVive. Actually, hold on. I'm going to get a little less warm. Oh man, y'all. So I went from Vegas, which was hot, to California, which was also hot. And then up into like the mountains of Cali, which was nice, a nice little breather, nice little break from the super heat. But then back into LA in the valley, it was hot again. And then like 2 days ago, it gets nice and cool in LA, and it's like in the 70s, and it makes me super happy. And then I start driving back to Austin, and I get to, like, I don't know, it's just outside of Arizona, right? Like Blythe area, and it's hot. And I'm driving at night, and I'm driving through the desert at night, and it's hot. I was like, no, I don't want to go back to Texas. It's hot. Oh, I'm so over it. It's October, and it's still like 80, 90 degrees in Texas. No, I don't want to. So, yeah, you know, it could be worse. Could be worse. So, Sci-Vibe. Oh my goodness, what a treat. I am so, so grateful for Richard Hart. And I guess it's a reciprocal, it's like a symbiotic relationship at this point. I think he's pretty grateful that I'm doing all this Sci-Vibe stuff. But it was really nice to see him retweet the call out for people to help with editing and testimonials. Definitely would love some more testimonials. If any of you have read Sci-Vibe, and I'm a little tired. I've been driving a lot. If any of you have read Sci-Vibe and it changed your life in some way, if you put any of his principles out of that book into practice and would like to tell the world about it, please send me an email or hit me up on Twitter and let me know that you want to provide a testimonial. I'm just looking for maybe 1 to 2 paragraphs at the most. It can be even shorter than that if you want. I would say 2 paragraphs is maximum length, what I'm looking for. And these will go either in the front or the back of the book. I'm working with Hexagon Girl. And I can't think off the top of my head this person's name, but there was someone else in the community that reached out who does layout and design on books. So I'm going to get all 3 of us, myself, Hexagon Girl, and this other person into a chat to work on that part of it. But all that being to figure out if the testimonials will go in the front of the book or the back of the book. So we'll see. We'll do that. Okay. And yes, so if you have a testimonial, please send it to me. You can email me at scivivingsj@gmail.com. It's SCIVIVING. Tongue twister, huh? scivivingsj@gmail. So please do that. And I had over 10 people reach out to me to help with proofreading and editing, which is fantastic. I didn't really warn anyone. I got a lot done yesterday in terms of what is the word I'm looking for? Doling out that work, like assigning it to different people. Because so some people I think are just, they want to proofread and help, which is more what I'm looking for, right? And then I had a couple people who are legitimate, like, editors, or they are high school teacher, they're a teacher and they teach language arts or something, or they're just more serious about it, right? So here's the issue that I didn't really tell anyone about before. I didn't warn anyone about this as I was giving out these assignments. This is mostly a very conversational sounding book, in that it is while you're reading it, and it's crazy, that I don't know if people hear my voice now when they read Sci-Vibe. That would be a trip. But I hear Richard's voice, even when I'm reading it myself, when I'm narrating it. I'm obviously not trying to copy Richard, but I definitely want to use the tone that he would and try to use the inflection that he would, right? And the way he talks is a lot of run-on sentence. It's like he just kind of spits it out, right? So it's not as if this was a book really where, people sat down and were writing line after line. A lot of it is from audio. So it's conversational, and it's not very booky. Is my technical way to put it. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically someone like myself who enjoys editing, versus maybe someone who's done it for a long time and they're a book editor, right? Like that's what they do. They're going to look at this thing and be like, this is trash. Like, what are we supposed to do with this? There's 50 commas in this sentence. How is this supposed to work? So I'm mostly looking for, words that are double. Like if I didn't see that a word got repeated, or if there's a broken sentence, it just doesn't, it just totally doesn't make sense. What I have done over the last months is I was doing mostly content editing. So I learned this actually through this process as well. Now, I did editing in high school and college, something that I was very passionate about for a long time. But going back into this and starting to do this again for SciVive, I realized that there's a lot of different types of content editing. Sorry, this car, they are just important. They gotta go real fast. So I'm gonna let them go. There they go. Bye-bye. So basically there's different types of editing, right? There's copy editing, which is usually looking for grammatical errors, punctuation, things like that. And then there's copy editing, which is more along the lines of the content. Wait, did I say that right? I might have said that wrong. Again, it's lacking sleep right here. Super awake, very good to drive, just running on fumes, friends. So content editing, copy editing, and most of the editing I've done is the content. I wanted to make sure that, because especially the spirit chapter, super a mess at the end of it. If you go to the SciVive Telegram right now and you open the spirit chapter of SciVive, at the end of that chapter, there are about 40 pages of content that it's like, where does this go? What is happening here? Why are all these words on these pages? And that's been the most challenging. I basically had to skip. I've been going back and forth with spirit. So I've done up to time. I'm almost done with time, the time chapter. I've got like maybe a couple pages left on that one. But as I was editing spirit, I had to stop because of this 40-page mess at the end of it. And as I've been editing the rest of the book, I will occasionally go back to spirit, look through those. It's now down to less than that. I think I got it down to 20 pages of content that who knows what to do with. But I've been piecing out whatever I can take and putting it in the chapters that it belongs in, because not the majority, but there are big chunks of it that belong in other chapters. So I'm taking that content, putting it in the right chapter, and then in addition to that, trying to figure out what of that content still belongs in the spirit chapter. And then on top of that, coming up with the heading. Because Richard's not doing, he's busy. When I started doing Fix the World, I had all these questions and I wanted to talk with him about content and what we should do with this word, or if this is supposed to be this thing, because some of it didn't make sense. And in the end, I just had to trust my gut, and thankfully, Richard trusts me enough that I've been able to edit the content. I've removed things, mostly just either things that were repeated, sentences that just did not make any sense at all. And no fault of Richard's. I think that it was just, the previous editor and the previous revisions and things have just kind of gotten convoluted and they've gotten a little messed up along the way. So that has been the majority of my work, is just making sure that the content makes sense, that the content flows well. And even that's hard, right? As I go through and I read when I do the rereading for the narration again, that's going to be basically my final pass, my final edit. And that's when I'm going to ensure that it flows well. Because again, some of that content that wasn't put into the right place, I've had to move it, I've had to find the right place for it. And then at times I've had to actually create headings or subtitles that, you know, it's not the original title. It's maybe not exactly what Richard would use, but I hope that I'm doing this work justice, and that Richard's, you know, at the end of the day, it's something that Richard can like truly be fucking proud of. Like, I'm gonna cry when I actually get to hold a published copy of Sci-Vibe. I'm gonna be in tears because this has just become my work. And it's been such a beautiful journey, and it's been so awesome to hear the way that, or to see the way that Richard appreciates it, and to see him reposting the quotes and tweeting things that I've tweeted and liking my stuff. And I'm just like, wow, like I've really made an impression. And I'm really glad that of all the places in the world, of all the communities that I could be a part of, or that I have been a part of, that I am here and I'm a Hexican, and I get to hang out with y'all for the next 5555 and then some, right? Because we're still staking. Like, I mean, I staked my first Cuatro Cinco like over a year ago, and I'm still doing it. It's been great. I actually just hung out with my birth father the other day, and this was a cool story I wanted to share, actually. So I onboarded him when Hex was about 13 cents, not that long ago. And this is like, I mean, like coming down off the peak. This was like just months ago. It was 13 cents. And actually, I'm lying. It might have been longer than that. It might have been like eight months ago, something like that. And now that it's 3 cents, you know, he hears me talk about it, and he hears me talk about buying the dip, and he was like, hey, let's do it. Let's buy the dip. So I got to input another $500 of his money into his Staker app. I love Staker app for this. I love it because, I mean, he wanted me to be there. Obviously, there are people in your life that are going to want some hand holding, but Staker app makes it so flipping easy to do all of it. It's great. Steph, Staker app team, Kareem, love you guys. Thank you for what you do. Looking forward to V2. Can't wait for that to come out. And it was so cool to see the different numbers, like the amount of, because he originally put 500 in. And so we had a preview of where his Hex is at now and how much Hex he has. And then, because that was the 13 cent Hex, right? And then now he puts another 500 in, and he just saw his bag like quadruple. I'm not good with numbers, but just, you know, exponentially more Hex for the same amount of money. It was a really cool thing to see him, like, to have him witness that, right? Like, hey, all right, cool. Well, now not only do you have a lot more Hex, now he's got a couple more stakes, and he's got those shares earning him that yield every single day now for a couple more stakes. And it's just great. If you have friends or family that are interested, or that you've talked to maybe months ago and they weren't into it, try again. You know, this is actually something that Crypto Kool-Aid kind of instilled in me. I believe I may have heard Will's Only One talk about this as well, or Kareem. It's been said a few times in the community. But, you know, if there's people out there that, you know, you talked to a while back and they were interested maybe, but not that interested, and they didn't get into it, send them a Staker app link. I'm going to, later today, maybe tomorrow, depending on how my schedule goes, I'm going to repost my guide. If you search Twitter, you might be able to find it. I think I used the words handheld Hex guide, or if you just look for Staker app guide, maybe under my profile, you might find it. I had it pinned for a little while, but I took it down. And that guide it's actually utilizing a tool set that I used to use at Blizzard Entertainment, and then later on at a gun company when I was doing process documentation. So I took screenshots of every single little step of the process using both of the networks that Staker app utilizes to get your fiat into the system. So it shows you how to OKC and like what that looks like for each of the on-ramps that you can use. and then it shows you which buttons to push. Stake your hex. It, like I said, I might end it in just a couple minutes. We're already going on like 45 minutes, and I don't have too much to. It's getting sketchy, folks. It's getting sketchy. If I drop one more time, I'm probably going to go ahead and end it, just so you know, because I am now just in